Hello everyone and welcome to Long's Toys. I have a Transformers Combiner Wars review for you today. This is Swindle. He is one of the Combaticons. I had been looking for these for a while. I have had this guy for a week or two, but I still have not been able to find Onslaught. I was kind of hoping, I was thinking of maybe doing these all 5 in one video, but seeing as how I cannot do Onslaught, I'm just going to do them singly and see how it goes. As you can see on the back here, the whole team is comprised of Blastoff, Vortech, Onslaught, Swindle, and Brawl. If you would like to read Swindle's bio, I will zoom in so you can go ahead and do that. Alright. Of course, it does come with an IDW comic book here with an exclusive Swindle cover. I will go ahead and pop this guy out of the packaging and we'll take a closer look. So here we have Swindle out of the packaging. He does come with 2 accessories, the kind of standard hand-foot accessory that all the Combiner limbs come with. Just kind of pop the fingers out and make it into a fist if you want it to be a fist. Swindle, at least in the G1 continuity, is primarily a foot. Of course, the mold does have the capability to be a hand or an arm, but obviously I'm going to probably have him as a foot just because G1, you know. But in any case, put that aside, he does have this little blaster, which is decent. I'll try to zoom in here so you can take a look at the detail. Pretty nice detail. The only thing I wish, Swindle primarily, especially in the G1 cartoon, had a longer gun, and he used to have it mounted on his arm. Now he does have the holes here, so you can peg this into his arm, but it's really short. Even this you could peg into the other one. But again, it's pretty short. I wish he came with just a longer gun, and then you could have it, you know, be arm mounted. Now, I would assume if you had a longer gun from some other figure and it fit in that peg hole, you could just go ahead and make that work. That's really my only complaint, was I just wish he had a little bit better gun, but it's not a huge problem. I really do like the look of this guy. He is a remold of Rook from the Protectobots, but I think the mold makes sense for Swindle, and I think it looks really nice. I'm going to try to get a real close look up here at the head sculpt. Very G1-esque. I like it a lot. There's no light piping because those eyes are painted on. It's kind of a metallic purple paint. Looks really nice. I really like this head sculpt a lot. Purple on the chest looks good. Obviously, he's primarily this kind of beigeish tan color with some purple and dark gray accents. But it definitely works. And the backpack is minimal. I really don't think that gets in the way very much at all. I think it actually looks pretty good. So, aesthetically, I'm a pretty big fan of this guy. For articulation, head is on a ball joint, so up and down, back and forth. You have a ball joint here in the shoulder, so that can go all around. It can move a little bit back and forth because of the transformation, but mostly the ball joint. Then you have a bicep swivel. You have 90 degrees at the elbow. Fists are stationary. Here, where the gray meets the purple, there is a waist swivel. Then ball joint in the hip. Thigh swivel right beneath that. And then 90 degrees at the knee. And then there's even a little bit of articulation here in the, I guess, ankle. So if you wanted to have a wide stance, you can see how it, you know, goes a little bit to the side so he can stand. My hips are a little loose, but not terrible. So you just kind of have to make sure the weight's evenly distributed. But overall, I like this figure a lot. I think it's definitely a good mold for Swindle. I think the color scheme and everything works well. They did a great job with the head sculpt and the paint. And I really like him a lot. So moving on to the transformation, it's very similar to Rook's. You're going to come to the back here and just kind of de-accordion. This kind of accordions in on itself when it's up on his backpack. So you're just going to kind of pull it out and just make some room. You're going to swing the arms back, and then you're going to want to rotate here at the bicep swivel. Just like this, so the cage parts are facing toward the outside. And you're just going to go ahead and line these up, and there's kind of little tabs for everything to just kind of rest on, just to make sure you're putting it all in the right place. Very similar to how Rook transformed. Just go ahead and hide the arms up under there. So make sure they're in, make sure everything is straight. Then you're going to come down here to the legs. Very simply, they kind of pop out and then fold up, a lot like most of the Combiner limbs do. So you're just going to go ahead and bring them up. And then they'll accordion back in on themselves. Peg together. Then you can go ahead and bring this down and peg it into, there's 2 little peg holes right there and 2 little pegs up there. So you just bring that down and pop it right in. There we go. Make sure it's lined up correctly. And then for these feet pieces here, they peg together. And then this whole piece will just rotate up. Just like that to make kind of a bumper in the front, or a fender, I guess. And then you're going to turn, you can see the head sticking out the back, and to turn that 180, and then just fold that up inside here, and that's just going to hide right there. So very simple transformation, very similar to how Rook transformed. If you've transformed him, obviously this transform is very similar. Only 2 wheels instead of 6, or 2 on each side for 4 total instead of 6, which Rook had. You can go ahead and store the accessories. You can either put the guns in these 2 peg holes up here. You could do something like that. Or if you want, this has a hole on the side right there, so you could put it on the front like that, which I think looks pretty good. And this also has a hole right there, so you could go ahead and put this on top of there as well. So a lot of options. I think this looks the best, just putting this normal gun in the front. I think that looks the best. Or I kind of like this off to one side. Again, if this was a longer gun for his arm cannon, I would definitely mount it back here, because then it would be longer. And again, would more resemble the G1, but not a big deal. I definitely think this looks really good. And with the shorter gun, I like to have it up here in the front. I think that looks pretty great. Figured I'd come in real closer so you can see some of the detail. You can kind of see the robot fists, which is a bit of a bummer. But that's not a huge problem. Underneath, there's really no robot kibble, which is nice. And it's definitely mostly the tan beigeish color with a little bit of the gray here in the roll bar. But I would have liked to see, or I should say the cage up here, I would have liked to see a little bit of purple in this mode. Not a big deal. And I assume they were going for realism, but just a little bit of purple I think would have broken it up. Maybe, I don't know, on the fender here in the front, or I don't know, maybe a little bit on the sides. Just a little something. But overall, I definitely think that it looks good. I have to say I really like Swindle a lot. Every time they announce a new Gestalt team, I get excited, and then I find out they're basically all going to be, you know, slight retools and repaints of existing molds. But I have to say with Swindle, it makes sense. Like, they really did a good job of adapting this mold to a Jeep, and the color scheme and the paint and the remold of the head. They did a nice job. So at least they are putting a little bit of love into these things. And I think they did a great job with Swindle. I definitely recommend it. I think the rest of the Combaticons are pretty good as well. We'll get into them as we go through them. This is only the first of the 4 that I have. And once I get Onslaught, obviously I would love to take a look at him as well. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like Swindle as much as I do, or if you're kind of disappointed you didn't get a brand new mold, love to hear your opinions. Please like and share this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you've enjoyed this look at Swindle from Transformers Combiner Wars, and thanks for watching.